Listen up, Brokies, because I don't got time to waste. I just came back from my private jet in my Bugattis. Again, what color is yours? And when it comes to dropshipping, there's a holy trinity of winning products, winning ads, and winning websites, where you need to have high converting descriptions that handle every potential customer's objections and then communicate that your product is worth more value than the price that your customer is paying. And I hear what you're saying. Oh, Top G, I don't know how to build a homepage or a product page. And I'm done with all the excuses. This is about to be the greatest website tutorial you've ever seen in the history of mankind. And what you're going to do is watch this at 2x speed for double the value.
And afterwards, you are going to do absolutely nothing.
Bad editor, what did I say about 2xing the speed? Not you, bad editor. Go back down to the dungeon and start editing Lele Pond's compilation Vine videos. But what we're gonna do as the top G's, the alpha males, the top of the food chain, is we're gonna snort our Adderall, get our cocaine, and we're gonna get so pumped up and ready to go that we're gonna grind out the world's best website in less than an hour. All right, I'll admit I can't keep up that energy for the whole video, otherwise I'd probably spontaneously combust. But the first thing we have to do to build a great high converting website is we have to understand what the website's gonna look like before we build it. You gotta have a vision for this. So when it comes to different sections you can have to your homepage and your product page, and honestly, your homepage doesn't really matter as much. Maybe 2% of people are really going to land on it. But these are all the different options you can have, where you want to have a simple main menu people can access, usually a banner image that's high quality of someone using your product. Then you might have, oh, we were featured in different magazines, some bestsellers that we already sell, maybe some major benefits about shopping from our brand or the benefits about our hero product. And then you have our team mission, some social proof. You know, you can read the rest, though. Let's actually look at some homepages right now just to get some inspiration, because you don't want to just build the same homepage that everyone else is doing. And there's just a lot of sections that you can try to add or you can try to get rid of. Realistically, you don't need to have a whole lot. I mean, Juice LEDs, this is a $10 million dropshipping brand, and you see right here, it's literally nothing. It's just reviews, a few sections about the product, and just a quick and easy banner that's not even that high quality. So you can decide to go super high quality, like No Miss Cure, where they have a nice professional photo. They got a USP right here on the banner. So that makes a lot of sense, because the whole purpose of your homepage is to get people to go to the product page. You don't want them to stay on here. So giving them as many links to different products you have makes a lot of sense. In fact, even they don't have too many sections. And when you compare this to one of their competitors, Paranix, who's selling the same product and is also a 7-figure brand, they don't have a lot on their homepage. This is literally it. It's not even really a homepage. It looks more like a product page to me. I mean, it's just, again, it does illustrate how the homepage doesn't really need to be too crazy. But when it comes to product pages, that's where it's the wild, wild west. People are throwing different sections at you, different ways of showing social proof, different ways of communicating value. So you really have to kind of get inspiration and see what you actually like and take bits and pieces from a lot of brands that you get inspiration from. So for instance, I noticed that some of the key sections you'll see is definitely a heading bar that has either an offer or social proof, something on the line. So if you go to a website that I know I constantly reference, like Bleem, they probably have the best announcement banner where they have a urgency discount code. So if you do have the price objection, you can instantly save money. And then they have social proof plus free shipping. So honestly, any of those texts work. You don't need to have 2 announcement banners. And then obviously you have your menu, some good images, some thumbnails underneath for the other images that they can look through, product title reviews. I mean, you guys can easily just take a look at this. I know there's a lot of different sections going on and things you can try out, like doing bullet point benefits versus having a review underneath your price point or having a sub headline. So there's a lot of these different options out there. So let's take a look at some product pages. So let's do the comparison between No Misk and Paranix. Again, they are both 7-figure brands selling a product that does the exact same thing. And again, it definitely looks like there's levels to this, but even though this product page right here is nothing too crazy, it just has some reviews, some very simple USPs that are honestly very generic, like, oh, it saves money, travel friendly. You can say that about a lot of different products. Their social proof section isn't too crazy, but they have some things that they do well. They have a nice offer. They have a free bonus, which increases the value of the product. And then they have a money back guarantee sticker, which I really like as well. And then when we go to Maya here, they have some pretty standard product images, but then they have some really high quality ones. I mean, these are really, really good. They don't have the 30-day money back guarantee or anything like that. And then when we go to their above the fold section, they have a starting of what looks like a description. It's kind of like a sub headline, I would say. Big add to cart. Nice that they tell you how long the shipping takes and that there's a money back guarantee. Those are 2 key elements that I have on every single product page. Then they show their social proof through kind of a carousel, through having 4 different sections of different reviews, which is really solid. Then they get into their USPs, which is, ooh, look at that little animation, 3 easy steps. And honestly, it's a pretty simple product page, nothing too crazy, then an FAQ at the bottom. And yeah, that's definitely how I'd like to structure most of my product pages. And then just making sure you handle any objections and questions people might have by having a good frequently asked questions section. And of course, great social proof. And looking at juice LEDs here, I mean, this is just painstakingly simple. Honestly, as a marketer who likes to really analyze and do a lot of stuff, and I'm definitely extra with my product pages, it hurts me to see how simple this is and the fact that it's actually worked really well. But hey, at the end of the day, we can use that to our advantage and just being efficient with the template that we make. Because once you build a template for the 2 different types of products, which is problem solvers and non-problem solvers, then you don't really need to do anything else. You can just plug and play the different products and then just change out the lines. And the final product page I want to look at before we start working on our problem solving product is this one right here from Ace Men. These guys are doing over $10 million a year. It is insane. They're one of the most successful dropshipping brands of all time. And this product page is very short. It's very simple. They don't have too much copy going on. I mean, this is really, really simple, and it's worked, and it's scaled their brand to $1 million months, and it's not a whole lot of effort really going on here. I mean, the one thing that kind of makes them unique is they always have these images right here, which is like either get benefit or you get your money back. So it's another way of saying the 30-day money-back guarantee, but you should have some sort of risk reversal element if you're selling a problem-solving product, where when you're selling clothes, you have to highlight the images. Those are what's going to do all the selling. So you make them nice and big. You got your title here, reviews, you got the size, and then just really it's going to be maybe a 1 to 2 sentence description about the product and then some bullet points, and that should literally be the entire page. And yeah, some reviews and recommended products. If we go to Fashion Nova right here, oh my goodness gracious, look at those Virginia hams. We can't be tempted today, boys. That's not haram, but again, very simple. Size, add to bag. They have a little size chart recommender, which there's a few apps like Kiwi Recommender that I like a lot. And then, yep, just a very simple review section. Alrighty, ladies and gents. So the 2 products we're gonna be selling today is this bomber jacket and the LED light therapy belt. So the first step I would like to do is coming up with a branded product name. So realistically, all I would do here is I would just grab the keywords. I would use a businessnamegenerator.com. I might use Namelix as well, and we'll just get some interesting ideas. Now, these usually come up with business names, but it works the same thing for product names. You can also use ChatGPT and just say, I'm looking for a branded, simple product name for a LED light therapy belt. And you know, obviously I'm not the best with prompts, but that could give us a good head start and just see kind of what options we'll have. So we have Luma Therapy, Light Wave, honestly Aura Strap. There's some interesting ones here, like Wrap. I like Wrap and Belt probably will be part of that name somewhat. So it's just about figuring out what's going to be in the beginning. Is it Luma Wrap? Luma Wrap sounds actually really good. Luma Belt sounds good too. Let's see what we have here on Business Name Generator. We got, okay, some Bright Beauty, so we can have the Bright Belts, Brilliant Belt, Radiant Belt. Those are all right. And then we go here, Chroma Belt. Ooh, Bio Belt. Rough. Wow, these are some good names. Luma Vibe. Yeah, that's not gonna work. TheraBand. TheraBand, TheraBelt. There's some really good ones there. I'm just gonna go with TheraBelt though, and then I like to do a dash LED light therapy belt just so that people know exactly what it is. And obviously everyone knows we probably have this patent pending, and we also have our own trademark on it, so we're just gonna copy over a little trademark symbol, put that right there, and we are looking nice and professional. So for the other product, the clothing blazer, typically people don't really have branded names for clothing items. You might just do like an actual human name, like calling it Chelsea or calling it Blazer. I mean, this is actually a blazer type of bomber jacket, so we want to probably have a cool one-word name maybe for the actual design concept, because if you look at like Fashion Nova, they usually just do like random words, papaya, all this stuff. So going into ChatGPT and typing in, I need a cool masculine top G name for a bomber jacket, they have Aeromac Maverick. Maverick's a great name. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. All right, so let's do Maverick like that, and then we'll do the actual keywords, which is going to be, it's just a bomber jacket. So now the next step is assembling the best images and creating the A team of product images for our product, because most likely the images our supplier is giving us from AliExpress or wherever isn't going to have the best images. So I like to gather some from Alibaba. Temu is honestly becoming my favorite lately because they have so many high quality images. I mean, look at all these different ones. We got this one right here. We can easily save that image as a WebP file and then convert it later. She's thicker than a batch of oatmeal. I cannot be distracted. The amount of women online.
Women.
it's honestly a travesty. So we'll probably just download the best images we find, and then I want to talk about how we can make these images stand out by editing them with the new Photoshop AI tools. So you can get Photoshop as part of the Adobe Creative Center, and I believe if you say you're a student, which, hey, I mean, we're students, then you can actually get a really hefty discount where it's only $20 a month. So I would highly recommend doing that, because we don't play into the system. We're not a part of the matrix. We always find ways around it. Now, let's actually add one of our images right now and kind of play around with the tool. So this is our bomber jacket. And what we can do is select subject, which hopefully it actually chooses the jacket. I mean, there's a lot of different things, and wow, this thing is good. Then we want to inverse it, so select everything that's not the jacket, and then we can do the generative fill, which is where we can just type in some text around it. So what kind of background could we do that's manly? I would say it could be like a concrete background. It could be more of a beach background. What are we trying to really communicate? Like, where are people most likely going to wear this? Looking at some images for references, we have kind of a cloud background here. We got some outdoors. We got some solid color backgrounds. I'm kind of curious, honestly, what it would look like if we just had a solid gray background. So let's just try that. That is very interesting. I mean, I like this. This would be a really interesting image to split test in an ad. I mean, we got this cloud, which, I mean, I don't know what the hell is doing here with this weird background shape that we'd probably honestly erase if possible. Now, if using Photoshop is too hard for you, then I have another tool you babies can use called Photo Room. And this is really awesome because it removes backgrounds instantly, and you can do a lot of cool AI images automatically. So this image right here actually wasn't this. It was this right here. So it actually removed the background, automatically turns into this white background. I can obviously rotate the object if I want to, make sure it's all centered. And the really cool thing about this is the instant background. So that way you can create a ton of different image ads all at once. So we'll let it kind of generate automatically. I mean, look at this first one. It stands out so much. We got a desert and this volcano hell on earth type background. I mean, that's going to get people's attention 100%. I mean, people love seeing hell on earth. Now, other things we got here, color splash. Let's take a look at this. I mean, that also looks so freaking cool. So again, we could probably customize the different colors. I mean, look, we got full color splash. I mean, the fact you can do this is ridiculous. I mean, that is so freaking captivating. And then we just got this simple pink background here with different shadows. I mean, that just looks so freaking realistic, and we can change the different colors too. This is a really cool app. I'm not gonna lie. I know I was maybe mocking you a little bit if you use this, but I use this tool all the time. God, that just looks so sexy, the all black background. I mean, this is a mandatory app if you are doing image ads for any product at all that is jewelry, clothing, home decor. I mean, let's just do one more because I'm kind of in love with this. Oof, that black marble. Oh, jeez. I don't want to bust a nut on camera, but that is way too sexy for me. Now, once you gather all of your AI images, I would recommend optimizing them with Optimizilla so that you can compress them, make them smaller, and that way your speed score on your website is much higher, so you have less people dropping off. So that makes a ton of sense. And then when you're getting GIFs as well, you can easily turn a video to a GIF using EasyGIF. You just upload it and then crop down how many seconds you want. You can also use Giphy as well. So with Giphy, we might want to have a 3 to 4 second GIF of someone from TikTok using the product, just demonstrating how it works. We also might want to crop it down a little bit, so we have this demonstration shot of this person putting it on her knee, which, yeah, could definitely work. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to start your engines, and we are going to finally start designing our product page using Pagefly. So getting into this, we can see Pagefly. You just go to manage pages and you can create it from a template. Now down below, I'm going to give you a product page template that I've already worked on in the past for another client, and it's worked incredibly well. Now with templates, you do want to make them your own. You don't want to be using something that thousands of others are using, like with different themes like Beautify, because that lessens the effectiveness of them. So you should try to make something that's unique to your own, have some little nuances, gather inspiration from websites you like, and try to recreate those different sections. Now, this is what the product page template looks like when you download it, and it's really well done. I will admit, it's branded, it's got some cool colors going on, it has a lot of personality, and then when you add your product in there, it also has some above the fold sections. Now, this is for a problem-solving product, so as you can see right here, the background still got that orange color. So if you have different branding, maybe you want to change it to white or a lighter version of the main color you have. So you might have black, white, and then that third strong color. So it could be a light purple, a light red. But we can see here, we got the product title, reviews, everything here makes a lot of sense. Now we would want to definitely have a compare at price. And this code basically just says it'll save a certain percent. So if you have a save deal going on, it'll show up there. Then we have the different picture options for each value. We got nice little product thumbnails that all look really, really nice and to the point. And yeah, there's just not a lot of empty space. We have some videos, so you can upload user videos here, and that just adds a ton of social proof. Or you can change those to customer images here. Again, there's so many different ways you can play around. Just swapping out the headline, swapping out the first sentences. You can easily recreate all of this, and that's what we're actually going to do in this video, along with building a product page for our clothing item, which yeah, is going to be completely different. There will be a different structure to that. So let's start building a product page though for our TheraBelt. And for this product, the main competitor is this one right here, and I will admit the product page is pretty dookie. There's not a lot of good things here that I would take away. Honestly, we may just take away their description just so we have a placeholder for our original description once we work on that in a future video down the line. So let's actually build a new product page from scratch using one of the templates from Pagefly. So if you click on the 3 dots on the right, then we're gonna go to page templates, and let's see what's gonna kind of fit the vibe we're going for. So we'll build our problem solving product first. None of these actually really are product pages. Yeah, these are not great ones. I don't know if they have it properly sorted, so we'll go type, and yeah, it is product page. Oh, surprising. But when we scroll down, okay, we got this toothbrush that's looking pretty good. Then we have this hoodie right here, which honestly, the hoodie one isn't that bad. I think we could use that for both of these product pages as the baseline template, and then we could just play around with other things. So let's add our TheraBelt in here and talk about how can we optimize space. So if we're comparing these two product pages, there's not a lot of empty space going on here at the top, but we have an announcement banner, which we already have as part of our theme. So realistically, we don't need that. And I can see here there's a little bit of padding at the top of this outline and the images. So I probably want to get rid of any margin we have going on there. Actually, it turns out when I click on the different columns, and you can go to styling to see if there's any margin. And margin just basically means how much padding are you giving it. So if I had 10 pixels of margin at the top, it pushes things down by 10 pixels. If I get rid of it, then it pushes things back up. Now, you typically, the default is just going to look like this, and then the top of it will show our main menu and everything else that's part of our theme. So I think this looks fine. The bestseller element, not a huge fan of, so I keep it really simple. Product title, I have my price, and then usually I have this save widget. Now for this code, I will link this down below so you guys can all have it, because it is really effective. And I'm going to give a compare at price to our product element here, because yeah, I do like to definitely offer that. But because we do need a compare at price, what we're going to have to do is edit each one of these variants and then just add that in there. So we'll just start with something like $89.99. We'll always play around with the price a little bit later, but let's save this. So when it comes to the compare at price, I do like to have it on the left, and then on the right you see the normal price. And typically with the compare at price, I make it just a tad smaller with the font. So we might make it something like that, and then we make this one here. And then with the product title, definitely does not need to be this big. This is not an important element of things. So yeah, just keep it to one line. And it looks like there has to be some sort of padding or margin going on underneath here. Yeah, so 16 pixels. So let's get rid of that and save some space. Then for the title, I definitely don't want it to be red, so we'll just do black like that. Okay, nice and simple. Then we have the variants, and we can play around with how that's going to look. And with quantity, I personally like to have a wide bundle or a quantity building app and just make this add to cart full length. That is the way to go in my opinion. I'm going to do text only there instead of having that little icon with the cart. And then I like to do buy now. Nice. Okay, cool. So let's compare and let's see what we did here. So we did have some stars. I do like to have some stars, social proof underneath there. So how did we actually add that? We just had a little heading. Okay, that's pretty simple. So if we add an element just like this, we're going to go add heading and drop that underneath. And then I think we just got some emojis. Yeah, these are just some star emojis you can easily get from Emoji Copy, and then you just add the text there. So we'll just paste that, nice and simple. And then when it comes to the font, I believe we're using Poppins on this store. And then if we go to the font here, we have Times. Yeah, Times New Roman is not good. That is honestly a pretty dead font if you ask me. And when it comes to fonts, I would recommend sticking to one font throughout your website. You can use Poppins, you can use something else. I would just recommend it be standard across the board. So now with that, we'll probably just bold our title here. And then with these different ones, yeah, they're also in Montserrat. So we're just going to make these Poppins, which it's kind of crazy that changing the font changes what the numbers look like too. That might sound like a really stupid idea that I just said, like one of those high thoughts, but it's interesting to me at least. Now, because this product has this light blue element, I'm probably going to stick with doing that light blue for the add to cart button and maybe even for some of these different backgrounds. So I'm going to gather with using one of my Chrome extension tools, the exact kind of code of what this is. And it'll be close. It might not be exact because this image is a little bit far away, but we're going to copy that code, go here to our buy now button, and normal states, want to change it from red to this blue going on here. That blue is decent. I wish it was a more powerful blue, but honestly, I'm going to stick with it anyways. And then for our border color, we don't want it to be this red anymore, so we'll make it blue as well, or make it a black. And I typically actually like to make my add to cart buttons stand out by making them pill shaped and having a little bit of a shadow effect, so it just draws your eye naturally to them. So with the border radius, we probably want to make this 25. Yeah, so there we go. And then we can add, a little shadow effect. Nice. And you can play around with the blur. Probably want to make it a little stronger, and then vertically we'll make it down like that. And then with the shadow color, the opacity is kind of low. So yeah, if you make it obviously full length, it's going to be kind of crazy. So we'll just play around with it. Doesn't need to be perfect right now, but I just wanted to, have that kind of effect, 3D effect to it, which looks really nice. Now, we already have an accordion menu built in, which is really smart. I would recommend for your accordion menu just to have typically your shipping times and a money back guarantee. Now, in this one, it has product details as well, so we could put in like the specifications of the product, what it comes with, the different features. So all of the logical stuff we can put here, which makes sense. And then size guide, we're not going to need something like that, but for the product page, we would. Shipping and returns, so this should just be shipping times, and then this should be a 60 or 90 day money back guarantee. So they either get success, so get whatever their desired result is, or their money back within 90 days. So Ace Men does their whole feel better, get your money back. It's very, very cutesy. So we'll do something along those lines where honestly, this product, I don't know the exact reasons why people buy. So it could be just get a slimmer waist. So we'll do get slimmer waist or your money back. And we'll make that as a guarantee, and we'll probably have to make it just a tad bit smaller because it is a little bit long. So we'll have that there. And then for shipping times, usually if you have faster shipping times, you'd want to call it out here. But for me, I'm just going to keep it simple. We're just going to do shipping times instead of return policy. And then in here, you would just drop in the typical text about how it's most likely going to be 2 to 3 weeks, depending on your supplier. And then for the money back guarantee line, usually there's a lot of standard ones you can copy online that would be just simple saying, hey, if you don't get results in 90 days, you can return it for another one, or you can get your money back. So that way it's risk-free. You're reversing that risk, which makes more people want to buy. So this would be an example right here from our template. And then we would just go to the heading text, paste it, and then obviously would change the name a little bit later. But for now, just keep it as is, totally fine. So getting to the next couple of sections, and honestly, these thumbnails aren't bad. I kind of want to see how everything looks on mobile right now because we are trying to optimize for there. It does feel like there is a bit of padding. Maybe I'm just tripping here. Probably have to play around with that a little bit later, but thumbnail wise looks good. I like that. But I will admit on our theme, we have it more optimized where we actually have this navigation menu for you to go through images, and that way it saves space because with the above the fold section, 100% of people are going to see this section. So it's really important to optimize and show as much as you can. So having good product images, having the money back guarantee little badge on one of these images, that's the first one. Having the title obviously is important, reviews, price, and of course having the add to cart all on that first page that people see. So we might want to consider condensing things and actually going with that approach. So I'll show you how to do that. So when we click on our product image just like that, what we're going to have to do is get rid of these product thumbnails. So realistically, let's go here, let's click on product media, then get rid of media list. But then we need to make sure to give people an option for them to actually see the other images. So go to pagination type, pagination 1, and that way saving a ton of space here. And when it comes to styling, honestly with the margins, I just push this up because there's no need for any of this empty space going on here. Probably honestly the same thing for this row. Like we have this row and a lot of empty space, so we'll just push that up on mobile at least, and it may glitch a little bit. You might have to play around, and this might not be the most efficient way of doing it, but we'll do that for now. When it comes to this product title, I honestly don't want it to be 2 lines, so I might just get rid of one of the words in here where it's just therapy belt instead of LED light in the beginning, so that way we can keep it on 1 line. But for now, that's just how it's going to have to look. When it comes to the margins here, there's probably, so I would say here we don't need all of this margin on the bottom, so let's just get rid of that. Yep, keep it nice and condensed. Again, everybody's going to be nice and tidy together. So we can actually see there was a little bit of margin there. There was 18 that was just default. And when we did the negative margin, that's why it kind of looks crazy. So I don't tend to like to do negative margin. That's kind of the last resort. So typically, yeah, you'll notice with these placeholders, they have already margin added, which I don't like. So yeah, let's get rid of that margin there, because sometimes that can just glitch because of different devices. So the next thing I want to do is copy over this HTML code that has the use save, and this is totally optional. You definitely don't need to do it, and it's somewhat a little bit complicated. So as we can see right here, we have a block element, and then the price and the HTML liquid is on the same line. So I don't believe that's going to be natural as part of this theme. So what we're probably going to have to do is duplicate a different block, push that up instead to where we have our product price. So this is going to get a little hairy here, but hey, stuff happens. So now we have that block there. We're going to get rid of the product add to cart, but now we're going to push this product price inside of the block like that. I'm going to drag it on in so that works. So now that's inside. And then we have to add an HTML block as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to find HTML. I believe it's in here. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to drag it ideally, yeah, on the same line, and then paste, save that. And they're all going to be nice and friendly. I know it looks random right now, but when you actually save it and look at the live view, it'll be perfect. In fact, let's take a preview right now just to see if everything's looking all A-okay with us. And yeah, it's looking nice and neat. So click on the inspect element. So this is most likely just going to show up on mobile. So now that we have that, I'm going to click on this section here, and I can see we have some padding on the top, and I just want to move our product images as close to the top as possible, and then boom, got that optimized. Now, when it comes to this variant section, this depends on what you're selling. So if you're selling a clothing item that has multiple options, doing product images is usually the best option. So modeling what we have here, because that's the best visual demonstration. Now for this one type of product, I mean, we have blue, and then we have black, and then we have a UK AU plug. So we're gonna have to play around here. Let's actually try to figure this out kind of on the spot. So we're gonna probably have separate options for sure. We might even add a headline on each one of them that says, hey, color, and then plug type. So we'll just have some text to separate them. So we have drop down button, radio. Yeah, that does not look good. I'm not a huge fan of drop down menu either. I kind of like to have the options on the page. So when you select on manage swatches and you go to Pagefly here, it actually will show you all the different things that can possibly be variants. So we can play around with how those should look. So for plug type, let's just go to that one first. And it's right now currently a drop down menu. So we can see what are the different options. Can we have labels? I personally, yes, labels are the way to go in my opinion. You can do variant images, yeah, which makes sense if it's a clothing item, stuff like that, adding its own custom image. But yeah, let's just stick to a label. That makes a ton of sense. So we'll do that just like there. And then next thing we'll do is for our different colors, we'll just add an option block like that. And then we can choose to be a drop-down menu. I never like to do drop-down menus. So either do a label, which yeah, for size makes a ton of sense. But I think custom images, variant image, I would do the variant image every single time. So let's refresh the product page we were just working on, and we are going to go back to the mobile view, and bada bing bada boom, we got some little labels. Now they don't look the best. We'll probably have to make the sizes just a little bit bigger, honestly. So yeah, image width, let's just try like 55 by 55, see how that looks. Definitely looking a little bit better. That's not too shabby. So we could play around with little size a little later. We got the buy now button looking good. I know when I hover, it changes to white, but on mobile, you can't actually hover, so there's no point. And then with the accordion section, it does look like there's some sort of margin going on between that and the add to cart button. So I kind of want to see what's going on. Yeah, so 48 margin. Yeah, we don't need that much. I mean, we can add a little bit. It doesn't have to be 100% next to it. And then this next section also, yeah, definitely some padding going on. But this above the fold really doesn't look bad. You got everything you need. You got your reviews, you got your price, you got this. We can definitely add some bullet point benefits as well, because that's what a lot of brands like to do. I mean, we go back here, they have bullet point benefits. They have a little sub description going on here. They got reviews. There's a lot definitely going on. Alrighty, so getting back to our above the fold section, I'm actually going to get rid of the margin. I realized when I selected up here to our section, there was some padding, so I just got rid of it. So just letting you guys know, you don't want to play too much around with margins because it looks different on every device, so that's why. Now, when we go down here, our about the fold's looking pretty nice. We got the variants, we got the labels here. We may add a few text blocks just to separate these that say, hey, plug type, and then here are the color options because it doesn't have that there. But the first thing I want to do actually before that is have some bullet point benefits. When we look at Aceman, they have, I will admit, everything you can possibly have in the above the fold section. A review, they have a sub headline, then they have bullet point benefits. I mean, they went all in. Now, I think I want to do a mix of just doing bullet point benefits for now. So if we actually go back here, how would we execute on that? Well, I think we can either do a heading here with an icon to the left, but that means you would be limited to the icons that Pagefly has, as you can see right here. I don't think there's going to be any for fat loss or any that are relevant to the product that we're selling. So we could do, fat loss. Yeah, we're going to be not great there. It's going to be very scarce. So what we're going to have to do instead is when you go to layout, you see all these different columns and sections, but you want to go to block, and we're going to drag this on in, and that's where we're going to have to put a heading and then an image on the same line to create that same effect. So real quick, we'll just drag in a heading, and then we are going to have to drag in a image as well, just like this, and bada bing, bada boom. Cool. All right, so I have actually selected an icon using this website right here called Flat Icon. So I looked up fat loss, and then everything is in black and white, but you can edit the icons and have them be in the colors of your brand, which is really sick. So I just created one real quick, and we can go back here. We will select the image, and I did in the blue that we got going on. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we're gonna have to make this pretty small, most likely around 40-ish, 35 should work. And then for the heading, we're just gonna go down here and do breaking down fat cells. We're just gonna copy it from our competitors. We'll change it later once we actually get to the description section of things. But now we need to kind of make sure these are on the same line. So if we go to our block here, we can see the options. And what I wanna do is have this be in line, which means it's going to be on the same line as the heading. So let's select the heading, go to styling, and there we go. So they're now in line. So I'm going to drag though the image to be before, and that is sick. So we're going to do the same thing. So that's looking pretty schmexy. So we're going to go back to the block here, and we're going to click on duplicate, and we can do that one more time. So if we have 3 benefits going on, so we can just swap out the image blocks with the icons that we want to test ourselves. So I have a new one here, and this is for promoting blood circulation. So going back to the mobile version here, that looks nice. And we're going to copy this one. So improve circulation. Awesome. And then when it comes to designing these to make them look better, because I know it looks like a mess right now, we would want to make sure obviously we're using the right font and that this font is a reasonable size, so probably like 15, 14-ish. Yeah, that looks fine. And then we'll have to probably have some padding or margin here just to separate these two. Same thing honestly with the image. I don't want it to be that close to the border of my actual screen. We may make it bold. Honestly, I'm probably gonna have to play around with the text a little bit later on, but yeah, this is just, I want to give you all the tools so you know how to actually use them. But that's how you would create some bullet point benefits real quick, put them all on the same line, make sure they're the same width. So for now, we're just gonna leave it as is. Now I'm going to add a little heading on top of these different variant elements that we have here, because we are going to need labels to separate these product variants, or at least there should be an option here. If we go to product variants, go to general, to have little labels on top of them that can easily tell people what they're selecting. And there we go. So we're gonna click show option name, and that's how we're supposed to do it. Okay, so from here, yeah, we'll probably just make the size just a bit bigger. Yeah, that makes it a lot easier for people. So cool. Now, when it comes to our accordion here, there's a bit of space going on. So let's just select the accordion. Let's just take a look here. Do we have any margin going on? Anything from the add to cart? There's a bit of padding at the bottom of it, but that's actually on the add to cart button. So yeah, we're not going to mess with that. But I would say in here, while we do want to have obviously the money back guarantee and the shipping times, definitely a very common thing to do with a health product is to have frequently asked questions, actually the most frequently asked questions at the top, so people can see that immediately, because your frequently asked questions section on the bottom is only going to be seen by maybe 15 to 20% of people. So it really does make a lot of sense if you have a question you see all over to be mentioned at the top. And I will admit, these are pretty thick accordion blocks. So honestly, we should probably just lower them to 10 on each side. Yeah, that looks perfectly fine with me. Because yeah, they're taking up a little bit too much space if you ask me. Okay, cool. So that's going to work. And then when it comes to the icon, Personally, I don't think we really need an icon again. Just slim things down a little bit. The accordion is not the star of the show here. And we're probably going to also make the font size smaller because, yeah, that's pretty big. And then when it comes to the icon, I'm going to do a little plus symbol. And you can put it on the left. You can put it on the right. It's really up to you. I'm going to put it on the right, though. And then, yeah, when we had any more frequently asked questions when we do our research, we can definitely just drop them in here. That would be perfectly fine. So is there anything else we want to do? Maybe we can have the border be a little bit more pronounced on these. So I would say not there, but if we go to the individual blocks, so yeah, we can choose the border style and we can see if we can make it a little bit thicker. So we could do 1, 2, okay, yeah, 12 is way too much. So we do, let's say 2, just see how that looks compared to the other one. So yeah, it's a little bit more pronounced. Honestly, I might just want to have it only on the top here. Sorry, not the top, but actually just the bottom, because the bottom one is kind of the one that really gets pronounced the most. And yeah, I think that actually looks pretty nice. So we're going to stick with that for now. Obviously, we can change the color, make it more. And I would say the next section, so if we scroll on down here, is we can do, yes, a social proof section where we have a carousel of different social proof. So it could be videos in the case of here. We could have more images, so a slideshow of reviews. So if we go to this product page right here, we can see, yeah, we have different slideshow of reviews going on. So to go about actually creating that, let's add an element and we're going to drop this baby right in here. Now, what we're going to need is to add a slideshow, and then in that slideshow, we're going to have a heading and honestly just a bunch of different things. So we can see here, there's a lot of different ways we can approach this, having 3 in 1. I think that's gonna be a little too much for mobile. So we're going to choose this one right here, and that's looking pretty good. Cool, cool, cool. So we would obviously add images from customer reviews. So let's just grab an example image, honestly, for now, just so we can have a little placeholder going on. So let's just say this is our customer, and then underneath we want to have, yeah, the paragraph, their name, possibly 5 stars, somewhere around there. All right, so we're going to grab a paragraph and we're going to add that underneath. Then we would add a heading. So we're going to grab heading here, and that'll be the name block. And then we can add the 5 stars. As you can see, if we scroll on down here to this page, so we have the 5-star image, which if you go to the template, we have this image and you can just easily change it if you want. It's up to you if you want to add the 5 stars. And I personally, it depends. I think with this, I usually, yeah, have this section where it says what people like you are saying. So it's a heading, and then the 5-star just implies that. So I actually think we're going to stick with that type of style. So we're just going to add a little heading right here, what people like you are saying. And if we scroll down on our template, we actually have 5 stars listed here. So we could duplicate them and then just drag that block on over. You have to be very, very delicate, almost like a surgeon. So we're going to do that. And then I believe we have the 5 stars up, if I'm not mistaken. So if we go back here, yeah, 5 stars, what people like you were saying, and then the whole rated 4.5. In fact, we could even duplicate this section real quick, drop it on down, and then we can do something like that. So see how similar we're looking. Yeah, so we got that, but we could just do, instead of the 5 stars here, we could copy them for later and then do rated 4.9 out of 5 by about, we could say 10,000, somewhere around there. So by 10,000 plus customers. Cool, 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 cool. So we are going to make this a 14. We are going to make this one definitely much bigger, so about a 22, and make sure to select our patented Poppins font. Oof, looking nice. And let's center align that. So we could make it a little smaller to fit on one line. We could definitely do that. We'll play around, and honestly with these red, I'm probably not gonna do red, so we're gonna have to change the individual colors. So we'll probably just make it all this blue. Cool beans. And then we're going to want to center align this text just like that. And there's definitely a bit of margin at play here. So what we're gonna do is center align this text, and we want to get rid of all this padding. There's definitely some margin going on. So yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. Then at the top here, nothing too crazy on that, but yeah, so there's top margin in this text. Okay, cool. So let's just take a look, see how that looks. Maybe we want to play around with the padding a little bit later. So yeah, we have a bit more padding. So what we could do is just go here, just add a little bit here, then add a little bit to the top. And yeah, I would say that works perfectly fine. So getting into the actual slideshow element. So we have our first one, but then when we go to the next one, obviously, there's going to be nothing here. So I actually want this headline to be separate from this slideshow, so it's just always there. So we're actually going to move this up, probably ideally out of this slideshow row. So right now I have the row selected, but I'm just going to drop in a new one right above it. And that's where we're going to add our 5-star element, the heading, all that stuff. So we're just going to drop that on in. Same thing over here like that. And then finally, last but not least, the heading we're going to drop in. Okay, cool. So that way it's just not interfering with the slideshow. It's just always there. So we're going to get rid of this row real quick, and then when we move on to the second slide, yeah, it's always going to be there. Cool. So from here, this is where we just obviously add the text, just add the right image blocks, and you would most likely want to have 2 to 3 really high quality reviews right here. And with the reviews, I tried to be as detailed as possible, where I have about 3 sentences max that do talk about how the product has delivered the desired transformation that obviously my target audience is looking for. So obviously we don't know that right now what it is. So we're just going to say, hey, this section is pretty much good to go. Like, we know how to actually build it. And then if we wanted to do the cool little video one where we have 3 showing up on mobile, so what we'd want to do instead, go drop our slideshow element just like this. And then when we click on slideshow again, for items displayed, we would do 3. So that way we can select the different videos just like that. So now to set up our first product description section, and typically when I do problem solving products, I will have 2 to 3 sections with an actual description, text, etc. So as you can see with this one, we have this section, which is a description. We have this section at top, which is a description, and then this one, which is also a description. So if you're wondering, how do we do this little background effect where it's got this like semicircle effect? I think it's really cool, and it's super simple to do in Canva. So all you want to do, go to elements, and then you want to grab a circle shape just like this. So we're going to zoom on out, and all you're going to do is just make this nice and big to the point where it covers most of this. And you would want it to obviously be the color of the brand or whatever the background kind of color is going to be. So maybe we do just like a slightly lighter version. So maybe that's kind of our background color. I think that would definitely work. And yeah, that's honestly it. Like, if you go back here, it's the same exact shape. And then once you download it, so we'll just do a little transparent background. So download transparent background. Awesome. What we would do is we'd create the new section. So we go here to layout, drop this puppy on in. And then the background of this would be that image that we just made. So you see background here, background image. I'm gonna upload, drop that puppy on in. And let's just take a look to see how this is. Because as you can see, yeah, it's not covering the top. I mean, this is literally just an image. And maybe, because I was kind of just doing it really quickly, it won't be perfect. But let's just see here. And then we're going to move it on over. So yeah, you can see it's a little bit off center. So we want to just go to more settings here. And obviously, the larger the row becomes, so like the more stuff we add to it, the more it's actually going to like fill out and look better. Because yeah, right now it's kind of just all over the place. But yeah, there we go. So that is going to be our background. So we could add our first heading here. So let's just see if we can just copy something real quickly, honestly, from our competitors, just trying to look for placeholder text. So we go here to general and drop that on in. And let's see if we can just shorten that up. So just do something like this. And obviously it's kind of all over the place. We want it to actually fit in the background itself. So to do that, we'd probably have to drop down the margin a little bit. Let's just see exactly what we did here. So we have the heading, going up to styling. Actually, we don't have anything too crazy. So let's actually go back up. So we did actually do padding on the row here. You see there's 60 padding. So if we go back up to the row itself, and then we add all of that padding. So that's how you drop it on down, just like that, so that the text actually fits inside of the background. So that's pretty clever, can't lie. Now, in terms of designing a headline that actually does stand out, we're gonna make this definitely a bit bigger than everything else. So yeah, like a 30, 35, make sure it's the pop-ins. And typically I do capitalize the first letter of each thing here. And I'm thinking probably gonna mix it up. So instead of doing black for the color for this one, we're gonna do white instead. And possibly we could bold it to make it stand out, just like that. We can center it up. It looks really nice as well. And we can always play around with the size of things. And I'd say that looks pretty good, honestly. So we now have that, and then we add just a little paragraph. Super simple. I mean, honestly, at this point, you guys should have a really good idea as to the cool things you can do. And I should probably honestly just focus at this point on the harder elements of things. So getting back to our paragraph here. So let's just copy this text on over so we can just see how the design looks. So if we go here, paste that on in, and then we are going to change the color from black to white again, and bada bing, bada boom. That is looking pretty spicy, I can't lie. I mean, oh, with the poppins, oh my goodness gracious. Now, next thing we have here is a little GIF that we dropped on in. So we're just going to grab a image block like this, drop it down below, and it is a GIF. So honestly, when you're uploading a GIF, it's the same process as an image. Now, I would say the only advanced thing you probably don't know what to do at this point, because now we've covered how to do the slideshows and a lot of the different elements here. And obviously for this circle, you just do the reversed effect. So we could do the FAQ section to round it up, and plus these icons, because this is a really cool feature you should do. So let's just grab this paragraph, put it down here, and then the final one we wanted to cover. So with these columns, so we can see we have a column and it has 2 rows of 2. So what we're gonna do is go up top to our layout, 2 rows of 2, just like that. And then we have image, heading, and a paragraph. So that definitely works with me. We've been kind of definitely refreshing on a lot of that. So we're gonna drop that in there. And then when it comes to these columns, so we dropped another image in the second column. So we want to go back to a row just like this, and then we'll do 2 columns per line. So that way we just drop in the different images and icons that we're playing around with. So let's go and just do a little heading mark so we can just have it for both sides. And then I'll show you how to create the icons like that, because that's also a really, really cool kind of 3D effect as well. So just got those dropped in. So how do we make these? Well, first off, where you would grab the actual icon itself would be from the same website. So I definitely recommend Flat Icon. It's really, really solid. So let's say we wanted to make an icon in this case of heat. So it's a therapy belt. So we want to just have like a fire type emoji. So yeah, grab this one real quick. We're going to edit that one and have the blue color. So let's just grab our little blue color. Awesome. So we got that grabbed on in, and then we are going to paste that code, and then we need a little hashtag. Cool. Now from here, what you're going to do is grab a shape. You're going to have a circle, and I typically just make it white like that. And then we're going to click on the download. So PNG 512. And then from there, the final step we're going to do is just add a page, upload the new icon we just made. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we're going to actually change the background color to just anything that's not that. And what you want to do, select this circle, click edit photo, and then we're going to add a shadow effect. So on effects, you see shadow, then the little glow. It's going to be hard to see because the background's black. So let's just change the background to honestly any other color. But then if we scroll on down, you can see the difference when it doesn't have the effect versus when it does. So let's just go shadow, none. And then, yeah, it's got this little rare effect to it. So you see the little glow, and that's honestly how you do it. So we'll choose just to make it a black color, and then we want to drag this to be kind of full width here and take up as much space as possible. And then finally, click on the download. We're going to do the second page like that, transparent background as usual. And then I'm going to show you how is this going to look when we go back on in. So let's exit out of that. Click our image, select image, and select that one on in, and there you go. Awesome. So it's looking really nice. We obviously would probably make it a bit smaller, so we do that, and I would say that's looking pretty good. Now, I believe there's a bit of padding going on in general. Yeah, because these are aligned a little bit further off. So if we just select kind of the columns in general, so we go to column here, styling, we're probably just going to push it on inwards. Now, if you're wondering what we would have done if we were designing for the clothing item, honestly, we would have just simplified things because we wouldn't have needed anything honestly down here. All of this could have been removed, and the only thing we had underneath was just customer reviews, possibly the frequently asked questions. So customer reviews, frequently asked questions, and then if we had recommended products, we most likely, yeah, put that down there at the very bottom, because that's what all clothing brands do. It's very, very simple. They just have the accordion menu with all the information. So instead of product details, I mean, we might keep product details, but instead of the money back guarantee, we could do the size chart. That's going to be really important to have the size chart down there, and also in the product images for sure. Then on top of that, shipping times, yeah, money back guarantee. So we probably have 4 different sections in the accordion, and that's going to do all the selling. And then on top of that, we may just have a little paragraph block. As you can see right here, that's what I added, and that would just be where we have our 2 sentences, because you see here, there's not a lot. In fact, they actually add their description inside of an accordion, which again is something you can definitely do. I personally prefer, though, definitely just adding a paragraph, and instead of the bullet point benefits, we would get rid of those. Don't need them. Just have 1 to 2 sentences about the design here. Get rid of this. We'd have the variant selection, and I think the only one we didn't actually do a label for was sizes. So if we go here, I may have actually did customize it off camera because I was doing a little building off camera. But we're going to let that load. But honestly, you don't have to do a whole lot for clothing brands. It's very simple. So outside of that, is there any section we didn't really cover how to do on this product page / template, which you guys can easily download down below, and it makes it 100 times easier and you don't have to go through this pain and suffering? Nothing on this one. On this one here. Okay, so we got this little section here with an image that's curved and this section that's also curved. So if you're wondering how to do that, we can definitely set it up. So let's just take a look at kind of the bones behind it. So we have a section, have a row underneath it. So we have 2 rows going on. Okay, so pretty simple. So let's get into that. But before we do that, let's actually go to the option swatch because, yeah, we didn't do it for size yet. And we're just honestly going to choose a label. I don't want it to be a drop down. So just be a label that they can select on the product page. Click on save once we actually select it, and we are good to go. So to really make this, what we'd have to do is create a section and then multiple rows where we connect these 2 together. So in order to do that, let's go back to our element. We're going to drop this one by one, and we don't want a new row. We want to have a whole new section going on. Okay, cool. So from here, this is where we're going to add our image block, and we also need to add 2 different rows going on. So if we go back to page outline, we can see section, then row, and if we go back to this one here, yeah, we had section, but 2 rows. Okay, so from here, we're going to want to duplicate out that row, and then inside of the first row, we have a column, and that's going to be where we drop the image block. We're going to drop it just like that. And then in the next column here, that's where we're going to want to drop the heading. Drop that in on like that. And then we're going to want to drop a paragraph right underneath. All right, so let's just select a little image just like that. And then we want to play around with the borders. So if we go to style, then border like this in terms of the radius, drop in that 20 like that. Little bunny ears looking cute. So that's nice. And then we want to change the background of this section right here to be kind of like a light blue to have these connect. So if we go over here to our row and then we go to background color like that, so we can select the blue and make it just slightly lighter. And then for the border, we would want to curl up and do a little bunny ear on those, so that works. And then finally, we'd want to try to connect these and also probably push these in a little bit because, yeah, as you can see, it's not as narrow as this. So we already have -15 margin built in, so we're going to push that in just to make it the default, and there we go. So pretty much the only difference between this image and the other one is that this image, as you can see right here, it fits into the entire row. And if we go back over here to our row, there's a little bit of empty space, so we could just decide to get rid of that empty space by playing around here with the column spacing, and then we just narrow it down to 0, and that way we don't have to play around with any of the margin, and we are good to go. So that would just work obviously if you're trying to do, yeah, the money back guarantee. Super simple. So all the sections you now know how to build. Really awesome. And now let's just get into the final part, which is going to be setting up our different apps. So I would say the first app would be Best Currency Converter. I like the paid version because it actually has the only feature that really matters, which is switching automatically to the native currency of whoever is on your store. So we're going to click yes, enable app, and then it has a few steps here that it most likely is going to ask you to do, and it involves changing up a little bit of code on the settings of your Shopify store. So if we go here to the bottom left, and then we are going to go to change formatting on the store currency. And as you can see right here, it's going to give you a little bit of code. So this is the first bit of code. Copy and paste in front of the formatting text. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we'd go down here, paste that before the text, and then paste span after this text. Cool. Save that. And then it will automatically check itself done if you've done it properly. Actually, I did mess up one thing. It's supposed to be the HTML with currency and the HTML without, but this is a different little setup, so that's why it kind of confused me. So actually, instead of email with currency, it's HTML without currency. What a rookie mistake. Honestly, sometimes you get too good at this. You get a little too cocky, a little too big for your britches. And there we go. So it's strike through, and you just want to make sure you have all of the major currencies going on that you're going to be advertising to. So yeah, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, euro, USD, and then yes. So the only thing is I want this to not show up on the screen because it can be a distraction. So for hide currency converter, yes, we want it to just operate in the background of our store like a dark night. It's one of those people that will never be acknowledged, kind of like that space movie. What's the Forgotten Heroes or Visible Heroes about the black women who worked at NASA but helped launch the first of a rocket to the moon, you know, forgotten heroes. So with the next one we have here, we have TrackyPal, and that's just going to ask you to log into your PayPal. Super easy to set up, so we don't have to go through that. Monster Cart upsell, we're going to cover in the offer video. Wide bundles also in the offer video. One-click upsell is also in the offer video, and Klaviyo and SMS bump will be in the following retargeting videos. So for LAI product reviews, we can definitely do that, and Ultimate Sticky Add to Cart. So let's open those two up. All right, so for Ultimate Sticky Add to Cart, we are going to enable it like that. And then we want to play around with the different colors going on, and it's going to be showing on both mobile and desktop. You have to make sure though to customize it for both, because you can see here, this is design settings for desktop, and then you also have to do it for mobile as well. So I like to have it at the bottom here. I don't want it to take up too much space. I don't think we need product image. I mean, you could play around, see how it looks. Variants for our products, we're going to need. Price, we're going to need. Compare at price, I think that's totally fine to have as well. And then for bar color, probably just going to make it all white. Bar text color will be black like that. And the button color is going to be the same blue that we've been using in the past. Or we can just make it black. That's perfectly fine as well, because we will be selling multiple products. So yeah, that does make sense. We can play around. I love to make it pill shaped, which is what we're going to do. And if you want to have a little bit of urgency, that's totally fine by me. I wouldn't do 2 minutes though, because that's a little bit aggressive. I'd probably do 2 hours if you're having some level of urgency. So yeah, we'd start this at like 2 hours, 11 minutes, something like that's a bit more realistic. And if I do have a countdown timer on the page, yeah, we definitely want to have something there, but you don't have to have this. You can just get rid of it. Simple like that. Now, we also need to design this on desktop to see how it looks. And actually, it did transfer over pretty well. Let's see here for bar alignment. Yeah, keeping it centered probably looks a little bit better to me. Anything else you guys can play around with. I don't like to have any animations going on. I think that just distracts people. And from there, honestly, I think we're fine. So we just save that and we are good to go. And then let's do LAI. So for brand color, yeah, we'll just keep it black. That is our main color here. Switch to automatic installation. And honestly, we already did the whole thing with Pagefly where you just add it as a third-party integration app anyways. So import now. So this is the cool magic where you want to be on the pro plan so you can import from Amazon, because basically what it allows you to do is just grab a link from Amazon and it will grab the best reviews. So for instance, let's say this as an example is our Amazon product page that we want to take some reviews from. So going back over to our LAI app, just like this. So we're going to click import reviews, import from Amazon. We choose the product we want to import reviews from, and then we grab the Amazon link like this. 20, I personally would want to do 100, and then we just get to choose the ones that we want. Only reviews with photos is definitely a good option. So click on import, and then you can choose to actually edit the reviews after they've uploaded, which is something you can't do with Luke's. So that's why I personally prefer it over Luke's plus the Amazon feature. And I believe Luke's you can only import from AliExpress, which LEI can already do, and more. So right here, you can see we can approve which ones we like, edit them, obviously make them more detailed if we want, or get rid of some objections that we don't want to have in here, play around with dates. It's super easy. And then once you save, you can click approve all, and I'm not going to do that because I don't want to get rid of that many reviews and edit all that, but that's how you basically can bulk import so many reviews all at once. And then into the settings, we're going to want to integrate this into our theme so that way it shows up. There's probably a few other settings outside of that here. So video reviews we don't need. Honestly, the majority of these settings we don't really need too much. Let's actually go to the display though, because you can customize how this looks in a variety of different ways, and they are pretty unique. So going to product reviews section. So this is how it would typically look like. I really like this one. I know they have a few different layouts that you can play around with. So yeah, we can see rounded versus square images, square small photos. I'm not a big fan of square small photos, so rounded for sure. Grid versus a list. Yeah, you can play around. Honestly, list is probably more common to what more big brands do. I do like the grid. A lot of people do grid though, so kind of have to play around with what you like. And then how many reviews do you want when they first load in? I typically do about 8 to 10 reviews, but you got to make sure with those 8 to 10 reviews, those are ones that you've worked on, that they're detailed, and that they handle the 3 most important things, which is that there's fast shipping, that the product actually works, and that you mention the name of the product somewhere in here, or the name of the brand somewhere in the reviews, so you know the reviews are actually personal to your store. And obviously they have a plethora of other things that you can customize with, but yeah, that's pretty much everything when you want to actually play around with this app. And now to wrap it all up, we have to design our homepage. I know this is a long ass video, and obviously I would definitely recommend looking at inspiration from others. In fact, even with product pages too, like looking at this cool little video customer testimonial. And I know we talked about how to do that including with 3, but I think it looks better when you have 1 and then you can slightly see the next one. So that's really cool. And based on the information I think I gave you in this video, you would have enough information and skills to be able to build that. Now, finally, so going to our homepage, we're gonna have to actually go to online store, then themes. I'm honestly not going to do a lot here because it just does not have that much value. So if we go here, we have featured products. We can probably just go, okay, what are the different sections we can do? A featured product, that makes a lot of sense. We'd select the product, so we can just do the bomber jacket like that. We have our banner already with a quote, bestsellers. We're just trying to get people to push the next page. And then maybe we have a final section about the benefits of a certain product that we're pushing. So if it's the bomber jacket that we're really pushing, we may have another section that's kind of laid out like a product page where it's just an image to the left and then text to the right. So we can have an image with text here where we have a headline, then a image of the product, and then a shop now button just like that. And then if we really wanted to, we could definitely throw in a review app or another banner at the bottom. So if we go back here, let's see if we can have the option there to add a review app. So if we see here, apps, yep. So we got LAI, and yeah, we can do homepage reviews. Awesome. So we'll just add that one on in, and then that way it can just populate with all the different things. So homepage reviews titles. So we just do customer reviews. And then inside of LAI, we would just pick a handful of reviews that we want to highlight there. So we just have that social proof element. And then with the newsletter, personally, I don't think we need to have a newsletter. And then in the footer, you do need to have definitely your different menus going on. So I want to select a block here, select our different menus that we had going on, because you need to have the policies. I know this is something I probably shouldn't have put as the last thing, but yes, it is important that you have these. So we'll just go here. We're going to hide that one. And then we have, yep, our different quick links like that. So we might just change this menu to saying footer menu instead, but it's really that simple. Subscribe to our emails at the bottom. And yeah, I don't need to have that. And yeah, that's pretty much honestly everything you would need to have on your website and all the skills so you can customize your website to make it as bougie as possible. And then I would say here, the last thing I'm seeing here is this typography looks a little bit off. So I want to change that up. So let's do like a strong, bold serif font. Let's make it just a tad bigger because yeah, these little icons look a little too tiny for me. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that definitely looks a little bit better. And then with the colors, we could play around with that and just play around with the schemes going on there. But yeah, I think that's realistically all we need to do because we're not going to play around too much with the homepage at the end of the day. And we are ready to move on to the next step, which is creating a high converting description from scratch. So flash forwarding to the future, and golly, did I get even sexier? What's the secret? I know. But let's look at the completed product page, and we have the Maverick first off. So I'm just going to go top to down here because there's a lot of subtle nuances and changes that went on here. So first, let's get into the variants. So with the variants, I did change it to where when someone selects a variant, the background changes from white to black. So how do you actually do that? Well, what you do is go from normal state to active state. And then from here, the content color and background, you can see the background's now black. It normally is going to be white, so you see this variance changing to white. So you can change it to black like that, and then change the content color, which is the font itself, the font color. So that's how you do that. And then for the images, I kind of was playing around and kind of seeing what made the most sense for when it's active. So what I decided to do is I added a border. So if we do a little border just like this, more settings, and then the width you can customize. You can do 1, you can do 2. I think 2 makes the most sense so that people just know, hey, which one I selected. Now with the star ratings right now on the normal view, you can see that they're kind of off center. They're actually to the center. So if you want to move or increase the size of the stars, there's multiple ways you can do that. So you can actually go to the CSS code. So you select star ratings, and then you would do some sort of code like text align, comma, center, colon like that. Or in this case, if we wanted to move it over to the left, so align it to the left, click on save just like that, publish. I know, Ethan, kind of a coder too. I mean, what do you expect? I'm white, nerdy, and scrawny, and slightly autistic. So yeah, I know a little bit of coding. What? Surprise, surprise. But while that's going on, let's go into the product images because I did play around a bit with that, and I wanted to go with more vertical images, so 800 by 10. So I made sure that all the images were in that size because you don't want to have images that are some bigger, some smaller. It kind of looks like a mess. So you want it all to be organized. So you can actually go into the media section, so product media, and then choose how the different images are formatted. So you can do full width, you can choose what the width is going to be. So definitely play around and make sure that they're all the same. Now going to the images, I also made it easier to navigate with these right and left arrows because I thought that was just necessary after testing it. And you should definitely go to the live view on desktop and mobile. You should be testing your product page multiple times for ever spending any money and launching any campaigns, because you will notice, okay, if I was a customer, what kind of stands out to me is something that could be improved. So again, with the media ratio, maybe square images work better. Maybe it's going to the original and making these images bigger, which for clothing items makes a lot of sense. And then for navigation, I did navigation 1, and then page pagination one is these little bottom tiles right here. So then you can select both options for navigating. So let's go on to the mobile view. So we got it. It's nice. All the images are the same height, so it's all uniform, which is perfect. And then scrolling on down to our description, the one change, the big one, is I did make my own custom size chart, and god dang, did this take forever. And not for the reasons you think, because you can go into Canva, look up size chart, and they have plenty of really easy templates. So the one I used had a hoodie background. I really liked it, and my Wi-Fi is not working because I'm poor. But imagine it is working, and this is what I made right here. So I basically converted the original Chinese size chart from centimeters to inches, and that nearly broke my brain. Honestly, that might have been one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. But after doing that, I then just added an image of my jacket right here, and I removed the background. So if you're wondering how to do that, let's get into Photoshop. So right here we have our jacket with a white background. So if we wanted to just quickly remove the background, if you go to properties just like this, then we have our quick actions, and you want to make sure on the layer to unlock it just like that. We can remove the background really quickly. So let's see how accurate this is. And we can see here, it's looking pretty good. Maybe we've got a little bit of white right here that we can remove a little bit later on. So we definitely have a little bit of a problem area right here with this white. So we're gonna get rid of that by going to select, then select and mask. And this takes a little bit of practice for sure. So we're just gonna make this a tinier brush, then click minus. And then that way we can just go paint right there. And that's pretty solid. And if you're noticing anything like, oh, it got into the jacket, we can just do the plus icon and make sure that is now selected. So we click on OK, and we are good to go. Now, the final thing is we did add some reviews, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And we also have our own custom 10 out of 10 footer, if I say so myself. So if you're wondering, how do I just get this footer to show instead of my default theme? Well, you have one main option, which is if you go to your theme settings. So let's go to online store, and then we're going to click on customize our theme. Oh my gosh, this is loading at 5 frames per second.
One eternity later.
So now that we're on our product page, so what you would want to do is go to the footer section of your theme and then just hide it like this, because if you don't have it hidden, then it will appear. So I just naturally gonna hide it like this, click on save, and you should be good to go. So publishing everything, we can now see our stars are aligned to the left. So if you want to customize that, it's really simple. And there is some code you can also add to your theme to increase the star size, but that is a custom code where you have to ask LAI reviews specifically. So I would talk to the support, and I will actually drop the code down below and kind of show you what we did there. So basically I went inside and I edited the code on my theme.liquid, and I dropped this near the head tag on theme.liquid. So going into here, let's do a little bit of digging, a little bit of coding. And right here was the exact code. So we had the width, we had the height, and I believe it goes down to around here. So again, if I wanted to increase the height and width of the stars, this is the numbers that you would want to edit. So really simple there. So other things we can add to our store is the favicon, because yeah, we can see right here, we have the gray world. It's kind of depressing. And it also says my store, which is not super branded. So if you want to actually go and edit that, if you go to preferences right here, you can customize what the homepage title is and just basically what shows up when someone lands on your website. So again, right here, homepage title, we could do Luxio. So we'll do the slogan of Shop Smart, Live Better, all those different things. And right down here, if you're interested as well, is when you are ready to publish your website, you do have to remove the password. So this is the section in which you do it. Just remove it, click save, and you're good to go. So going to our theme settings and then logo, we can see Favicon image is usually scaled down to 32 by 32. So if we were to select our normal logo, it would be too big. So usually what you want to do is 1 to 2 letters or kind of a symbol if you have anything like that. I don't really have that. So maybe I just go with the EL for my name. So we just do this EL, and then we can do a little resizing. So let's just try something pretty simple. So we'll do just 64 by 64, which is only going to be a few pixels. This is not a lot. It's going to be really, really tiny. So I'm going to make sure this fully fills out the box nearly to the edges like that. So we are going to download this puppy, and then we'll upload it into the Favicon section, and we are good to go. So as we can see right there at the top, we have a Luxio and then our slogan, and then we have the little EL Favicon. So that's really simple. Now, this is where I made a lot of changes. I can't lie. I did a lot of busy work off camera, and you may be thinking, oh, you probably got one of your lackeys to do it. That would be an accurate assessment. But for the love of God, don't discredit your sensei like that, because I did put in the work. So let me explain everything we did here. So starting off with photos, I did go with, I like to have a money back guarantee as the first image. I think that's really strong when you're selling a product like this, where a lot of people are going to be skeptical. They are spending a lot of money, so they're going to want to know, is there a chance to get my money back? Can I have some sort of risk reversal? Because that also increases the trust, because we're so confident in our product getting you results that, hey, if you don't, there's no harm, no foul. Now, how did I actually make this image? Really simple in Canva. You can just have a background that is a gradient. So really quickly, I just had this little gradient background. So you can go to document colors, choose a style of gradient that you like the most. And then again, we cut out the product image. And for the font, I use Poppins. It's about size 50. And I underline this, and super, super easy. It takes like 30 seconds to do, even if you don't have an artistic bone in your body like I do, which honestly, I probably failed all of my art classes, but that's besides the point. So getting into other graphics I did make. So there was a graphic, this one right here, I believe. So we'll actually move over. That was pretty crap. I can't lie here. Like, it's definitely visible, which is kind of the main point of a graphic, but it has another brand's name. I wasn't really a big fan. So again, I just removed one of the models and I used a Canva template, and then I added my own benefits. So you might think it's better, you might think it's worse, but the reality is I'm smarter than you. I'm stronger than you. I am better. I am better. Now, on top of that, I did add some of my own photos that I found from other suppliers. Now, other things to note here in the variants section, I actually realized with my supplier, they don't have any inventory for black. So I did remove that option. And when you're in a situation where you only offer one variant, you shouldn't have this option here, because that's the only one they can select. So I'm actually going to get rid of that, and I'm going to make the only option for someone to choose the plug type that they want to get. If they're US, EU, all that stuff. Now, this also means I do need to remove any photos that have the black variant, because we no longer sell it. But that's a really, really simple thing you should do. Now, getting into other aspects of the product page, we can see here our bullet point benefits. We updated it with some new icons. So we did use flat icon to get all of these. And I did write a description, which you're going to see in the next video. And boy, is that video a banger. You're gonna love it. So I did have the whole description here. It's all filled out. So bullet point icons are here, and then I made sure with width to make sure all of these icons have the same width, so that they're, again, having the same level of spacing with the actual benefit itself. So we had the color here, but that's going to disappear soon. And again, we already talked about how to customize the variants. Now, I do like having a little bit of urgency, whether that's a countdown timer or telling people there's limited supply available. So I just added this little heading, and it has a red dot icon. So this is super, super easy to do. If you don't know how to do it, go to heading. Then you would just want to grab an icon that is to the left. Unfortunately, again, I have that McDonald's Wi-Fi. I didn't pay my Cricket wireless bill. I don't know what's going on, but we would want to select our icon. So going into this one right here, and then we'd want to choose the little circle like this. And then we're just going to customize it, make it red. You're good to go. Now, other things we did is we do have our what's included. So we are being very transparent about what's inside, because that was a frequently asked question that a lot of our customers had. Now, getting into this video section, I decided to do a slideshow here. So if we actually go into the page outline, you can see there's a slideshow and then there's two slides. So each slide just has a video inside. It's really simple to do. In fact, in these slideshow templates, they have a different ones that you can do. So if you go up here to slideshow and then choose this bottom one that has video, super easy to do. Now, when it comes to the settings, I would play around and see what honestly works the best for you, because for me personally, I want to make sure that these are my settings. I don't want to do autoplay when it comes to desktop version. I don't want to mute the video. So I want to give people basically the option to, they can play the video and then there's audio there. Now on mobile, I actually have slightly different settings. So if we go here to the mobile version of this, it's basically the same setup. I know it's taking a second to load, but on this one, I do autoplay, because when you don't do that, basically when someone clicks the video, it makes it full screen. It takes them off the product page, which I don't like. I want it to just be everything's on the page and it plays naturally. So that's the one distinction I make. And if you're wondering about all the different settings on the slideshow, I have 2 items displayed. Spacing is about 10 between that. That's a little white gap. And when you're playing around, sometimes these sections will look weird on desktop, and then a really well-designed option on desktop will look weird on mobile. So I actually have this section right here hidden on desktop and laptop, and I'll show you why. So if I unhide it, let's just see how this looks. And I'll show you why. So for instance, I have this section right here, which I believe is, yes, hidden on desktop, and it looks pretty well designed. It has a headline, it has an image, and then it has 2 sentences. So looking at the desktop version, yeah, it's a complete mess. So I could obviously, yes, redesign this, do different sizing and all that stuff, but sometimes it's just easier to just recreate it on the desktop version and just save yourself some hassle. Now, in terms of the description, we have our heading here, we have our paragraph, and with the button, I do have this set to scrolling to a section. So I have have it scroll to the top of my product page. So basically when someone clicks it, it goes to the top so they can click the buy now button. So super duper easy. Now, when it comes to the reviews, nothing too fancy here. Again, this is just a slideshow where there's an image, there's some text underneath. Nothing too crazy at all. Scrolling on down, we have our graphic. We have another button that goes to that same section. And then I added a little bit of a social proof. Hey, here's a proof of concept. This is what people are saying, to add some more trust at the end of the day. So if you're wondering how to create this, because this can actually be kind of complicated to do, let's actually do that real quick. So we want to go and we want to add a section right here with 2 different columns. So make sure new section going on. And all this is that inside these different columns, we have an image and then we have a heading. So if we go over here, we're going to drop an image into the first column, and then into the next one, we will drag a heading. So we'll grab that. Now, what you want to do from here is that in your row, you want to do 2 columns per line. So that way they're on the same line. So that's going to save you a lot of headache right there. So let's just copy over this heading right here. We're going to paste it like that. And obviously we'll worry about the spacing a little later, but you'll notice how these are closer. This little green thing is closer, but in the default one, it's closer to the middle. So we want to drag that out, and let's actually grab one of the images of the 95%, 92% statistic. So grabbing that on in, this is how it looks so far, and it's a little bit messy, so we'll customize things. We'll make sure it's poppins. We'll make sure it's the right font size, all these different things. We can see here our font size is 15. Now, even while doing this, we still have 3 lines, and the reason why is if we go to the actual row itself, there is column spacing. So if you eliminate that spacing, you see how close these 2 get to each other. So that's where you want to play around with the spacing a bit more. All right, cool. So now that we've done that, I want you to go to the row, and then we want to play around with the column spacing, because if you see on these other ones, there is 0 spacing going on. Everything's centered, everything's equal height. But naturally, when you do these, it's not going to be like that. So you see here, our image is now looking a little bit too big. So if we compare that to these other ones, image width 1300, but the height is 84. So yeah, this one's a little bit too big at 112. So we're going to do 84 like that. We're going to do contain. And then we're going to drag this green thing right on over. And again, I do believe I added a little bit of left padding. So we're just going to do that. So let's just do like 5. And that is exactly how you would create this section. And then going on down, we do have the 30-day money-back guarantee, which we've already talked about. Now, I believe the final things we haven't really talked about. I mean, there is a frequently asked questions. I didn't do anything too fancy, but I did add a little bit of padding, because without that, you can see what happens where basically the words kind of get above the plus, which I don't really like. I mean, I would say at the top, we also made the media ratio square, centered, and contained. So if you are interested, we did do the same navigation. So it's all looking good. We're going to get rid of those old images. But yeah, getting into the final section, which is the reviews. Now, keep in mind, it is technically not allowed to add your own custom reviews, even if the reviews are for the same product. It's against the rules and the law. So again, Uncle Ethan's just telling you what you can do. I mean, I personally would never do this in a million years, because I am not a crook. I am not no thief. I play by the rules of the game. So, but just in case you're interested in seeing how you could import reviews theoretically from Amazon onto your test store that no one's going to see, this is how you would actually do it. So we've already talked about in the past how you can import reviews from Amazon. You just grab the listing of the exact product from Amazon from the different suppliers. So we just click import, grab some pictures, and then you can edit them natively with LAI. And that's why I really, really like it. Now, going into the choice of the reviews, because we've already gone over how you can import reviews, let's go here. I like to pin all the reviews that are photos first. I like to give people visualization. So I will always do with photo. I'm going to grab all of these, and I'm going to, first off, pin those reviews. So going on to the live view, we can see we have all these great photos, and with the text, definitely take note of this. I like to have my reviews be detailed. I'm not having no AliExpress, oh, product is nice, fast shipping, quality, good, supplier, I love, all this broken English crap, which doesn't look authentic. It actually lowers the credibility and trust, and it's going to lower your conversion rate. So I personally like to have all of my reviews be somewhat detailed. And if you grab Amazon reviews, they usually are. And sometimes you just have to play around, and you want to have a mix of 4 and 5-star reviews just so it's believable, because there is no perfect product. So you should have some objections like, hey, maybe it was too tight or too small, or maybe the material, there was something wrong. Again, it's got to be realistic. So outside of that, I also want to make sure that we are talking about the major benefits of the product. We are talking about there's fast shipping. We are mentioning the name of the product throughout. So every like 1 in 3 reviews, I'm going to mention the name. So the Maverick here, mentioning different objections and handling those, because you can handle objections through having really good reviews. Now on that, if we go to product reviews and these settings of LAI, I naturally like to have about 8 reviews appear, and usually that's all people really need to see. Like, they're not going to go crazy here. So if you go to sort and display, this is how many reviews will load immediately. And you can also customize things like, yes, the rating icon color. So if you want to do yellow, you can do yellow. And for the TheraBelt, let's take a look at some of the reviews here at the top. We got some 4, we got some 5, but these are all the real photos we can muster up. But look at how detailed these freaking reviews are. I really put in that work, I'll tell you what. And then if you're also noticing at the bottom with the sticky ads cart, I do have it being this full width buy now button. So you can customize the look of that as well. I personally like it just to be the buy now button. So if you go into Ultimate Sticky Ads card and you're wondering how to do that, that would basically mean you're turning off the price, the product image, all those different little things so that you just keep it cool, clean, and very minimalistic. So just to show you the settings on this is exactly what I did. Nothing too crazy with the animation. I do have it turned off. I'm not sure why it was showing up, so might have to talk to the support team there. It does happen. So this is basically everything here. We have the product pages ready to go. In the next video, we will talk about descriptions, and in the video after that, I do want to talk about how to do split tests and how to make sure you are maximizing these product pages you create for every product so you can have the best chance of finding a winning product.